Hello, Internet! I'm back again for something completely different again because that's mostly what my YouTube channel does. Because I'm like, oh, I'm going to do something weird in Ocarina of Time. Oh, I'm going to talk about video games. I'm going to try to do a podcast on YouTube and then convert it to something else where podcasts are much easier to do because I'm not a video editor guy. Which I could be, but I paid too much other attention to other stuff. Anyways, today we're going to do a tin whistle review. That's not what you saw coming, is it? Uh, so this is a Elfsong Tin Whistle. They call this the Enchantress, which is kind of interesting here. It's hard to get that zoomed in there. Autofocus sucks usually. Anyways, so this is from Elfsong Penny Whistles. You can look them up on Google. I think their website is something like Elfsong. I'll put a link in the description if I remember, or maybe I'll just do something totally different. Yeah, I'll probably put a link in. Anyways, they're available through a handful of distributors. You can find the information on their website to what distributor works best for you. So this is an interesting tin whistle because if you'll notice, it has more holes than a regular tin whistle. Ooh. And the reason for this is they call it the Enchantress because it's made to mimic the fingering style of a Great Highland Bagpipe chanter. So I got my practice chanter here for a couple of comparisons, and then I got a couple other tin whistles here for comparison. So this is the Enchantress in D, which I notice, actually something that excites me, is that it is significantly larger than the standard D tin whistle. They've both got a Generations logo, so I'm not sure what exactly the deal is with them manufacturing through Generations or what. I don't ask questions. But anyways, it's got the Generations logo. It's somehow associated with Generations tin whistles, and I've also got a D Generation tin whistle. Anyways, the significance of this being bigger is this is actually about the size of the C Generations tin whistle. It's a little bit longer there, but with a different hole setup, I imagine that the bottom note is actually going to be C with your all holes closed here. So the benefit of that is that your low A bagpipe fingering is going to be the D, which is what you want. That was one of the things I was afraid of. Is I was like, oh, if it's like, because I saw the Generation logo in the little image in the item description when I bought it online. But so I was like, oh, is it going to play D when I have all my fingers down? Because that's not what I want. Because one of the biggest problems I have in playing a regular D tin whistle, coming from playing bagpipes for 14 years before I even started this, is I missed my pinky. So I am glad to see that this is big. So theoretically, all the holes closed on this should be C-ish, or whatever the relative note is in the B-flat scale. Although it's not a B-flat scale, it's a D scale. This is confusing for me because I'm a bagpiper, so everything I understand is B-flat scale, which bagpipers call A instead of B-flat because we're weird. Anywho, I guess we'll give it a blow and see if I'm correct. So actually, I'm going to do a trick here that I don't know if this is going to work. This might sound terrible, but I'm going to attempt to finger D on both whistles and see what happens. Actually, I'll do that in a sec. No, I won't. Maybe I kind of want to, but I'll do it later. Anyways, it's too hard to hold. And anyway, we'll just get into the video here. So that's your basic scale there, which is vaguely reminiscent of your D scale, obviously. I blow too hard because I'm a bagpiper. It's a thing. So now what's throwing me off is that the fingers feel like tin whistle fingers. So my default reaction is to go to the tin whistle fingering instead of the bagpipe fingering, which is odd because I've been playing bagpipes for far longer than I have tin whistles. So that's kind of an interesting thing. And I was wondering how easy it is to blow up into the second octave on this as well. So let's give that a go. Okay, so I'm not going to go any higher than that because it's kind of late and I don't want to wake my neighbors right now. But that seemed to be okay. Once it got up to that E, and then that F is as high as F relative to bagpipe scale. I'd have to use like musical knowledge to figure out what note that actually is. Anyways, so the F bagpipe fingering there, that sounded okay tone wise. I generally find that the generation whistles that I've played with, I'm not a hugely experienced tin whistle player, but I find that the generations don't have as nice tone once they go up right about to the same relative note on the second octave. They don't carry as much tone, which might just be that I don't blow as well. I'm not 100% sure. But so I've some other whistles. I got this Susato whistle. I think is much nicer. But I mean, I can't complain because on my regular practice chanter, obviously you get the 9 notes, and that's it. So it's nice to be able to actually use more than one octave. That's crazy to me because I'm a bagpiper and we don't understand terms like octave. So yeah, that's kind of cool. So I'm just gonna go ahead and try and play a tune on it. I was also kind of wondering because I feel like what tin whistle players call incidentals is what bagpipers call grace notes or embellishments, and they play very differently. I feel on the regular tin whistle as opposed to the bagpipe, whether practice chanter or actually a full bagpipe. So I'm gonna just play a tune and see how the incidentals go, whatever you want to call them, grace notes. So Scotland a Brave or something. That's really hard to hit from the high A fingering to the low G fingering, so that is a little issue there. Obviously on your high A grips, which are going to be very prevalent in bagpipe music, um, that's going to be an issue literally every time you have to play them. So that's kind of a ding against it. But you know, if you're modifying it for tin whistle anyways, it might sound better if you just do something else. You could just do another passing high G sweep. I blow too hard because I'm a bagpiper. I still want to do that grip. I'm also still catching myself using tin whistle fingerings. I trained myself the wrong way, which is the right way. So this is a kind of a neat little whistle. So I would definitely recommend this if you are interested in picking up a tin whistle and not learning another instrument. As for if you are a tin whistle player and you want to get into the bagpipes, get a practice chanter. It'll be much better for you for learning bagpipes. I think obviously because it's designed to be a reminiscent of the bagpipes. It does things the way a bagpipe does. It's made pretty much almost identically, really. So it's a good product for how much I paid for it. I'm not angry at it at all. It's like it's a cool little thing, and I'll probably use it to play some tunes at the Irish session and stuff like that. So I don't have to learn every single tune that I've ever learned again, which is a little bit of an issue coming from bagpipes to these. Is that I've been like, oh, I'm gonna learn this tune, but I have to relearn it in a different scale, which now I can translate a little easier. Now that I got this thing, so it's kind of cool. And occasionally hit other octaves, which has a lot of interesting potential. I'm wondering how easy it is to switch between your high and low hand notes in the next octave, though. So I'm gonna try that real quick. hard because I'm a bagpiper. That's a theme. That should be my new catchphrase instead of altering to that. Oh, I don't have a beer of the week. Fuck. Shit. I'm going to be right back with a beer of the week. All right, I'm back. Did you miss me? Today's beer of the week is London Crystal Palace. Oh, London Dry is the style of gin. Maybe I don't know shit about gin. Crystal Palace Premium London Dry Gin with natural flavors. Cool. So this is something that I bought for cocktails, and it is just the cheapest gin in my local liquor store. I got it in my shot glass because it looks like a gun. Shot. Actually from Route 66 in Santa Fe. All right. So I hate gin, so this is probably going to be terrible. But I had one gin I liked one time, so maybe it'll be okay. Or maybe it'll be cheap gin because I bought cheap gin. So it smells like gin. Very, very light, actually, on the juniper nose. I feel like most gins are a lot more juniper forward. But I don't smell a lot of that. I don't know what kind of flavor to describe it as. Windex flavor, drain cleaner flavor of that I usually associate with gin is pretty much juniper and Drano. So not a fan usually, but you only live once unless you die drinking some cheap gin or something. Oh. It's not great because it's gin, and I don't like gin. Somebody who likes gin might like that, okay. When you put it in a cocktail, you don't notice because, it's in a cocktail. It tastes like whatever other 15 ingredients you put into it or whatever. Anyways, so that's kind of okay. Back to what I was doing. Oh, shit, I drank the whole thing. Now if I fuck up, then I have to drink it. There's another little swallow in there. Okay, fix that. Anyways, if I fuck up again, I have to drink. That's part of the game. If you don't follow my channel, that's part of the fun. So, yeah. So, yeah, that's not too bad. It's a little different, I feel, from going up the octave on a standard tin whistle. Blowing too hard because I'm a bagpiper. Fucked up again. I gotta drink. I didn't mean to have this much alcohol before bed. Okay, half shot. Close enough. Put my pinky up because gin is fancy. Probably. I don't fucking know what's fancy. I drink beer. But I didn't want to drink a whole beer right before bed. So that's what you get sometimes. So back to the D tin whistle. It is a little different. I feel like these just the standard tin whistle, whether it's the generation or the other Susato is just a little more natural feeling, which maybe that's just something I'll get used to because this is also a larger tin whistle than I usually play because I usually play D's. I have a B flat too, but I don't play it as much, and I have the C too, obviously, but I don't play that as much. So, yeah, it feels a little different, and it also feels just kind of funny as a bagpiper to go from your high A fingering to your B fingering. So yeah, one thing I'm also a little saddened about is it's not a big ding against it unless you're like a big bagpiper like me that I've been playing bagpipes for years. I kind of want to use like more traditional piper's grip. I feel like that's not going to work because actually that kind of I'm surprised that I was gonna say because the holes feel like more like tin whistle holes rather than practice chanter holes or than standard bagpipe chanter holes. But actually, that piper grip actually worked not too bad. So actually, I'm gonna try and just play a tune on just piper grip to see if there is any big discrepancy. Because one of the things that was a big struggle for me was I wanted to go to the piper grip, use the middle of my finger, but you really kind of gotta curl them around a little more on a regular tin whistle, because it'll hit the wrong octave and weird shit like that is a lot of what my problem was, and I thought I was just like blowing too hard because I'm a bagpiper, which I also was. But yeah, so that's I was actually surprised just now. I expected that to be like terrible. So actually, yeah, that I just kind of fucked around there for a little while, just see. So I'm wondering how that would do in a little bit of a quicker tune, like a hornpipe or something. Trying to think of a tune. Um, how's that going? So some of that, I'm sure you noticed a handful of little flubs here and there. Some of that I feel like is me maybe blowing a little too hard because I'm a bagpiper, and also, but some of it I feel is definitely just the difference in fingering between uh, the whistle and the actual bagpipe. Which, for the most part, actually using piper grip actually was very comfortable, and I feel like that was okay for what it is. Uh, that's a lot better than I expected it to be, because it's a lot closer to like piper grip than any tin whistle I've used of any brand. So I think that's pretty cool that you can actually piper grip, and I even got a couple of pretty okay brills in there. Um, but again, I was having some issues, especially going from the high notes to the low notes, um, which might be. I'm not. I'm hypothesizing here, but it could be my reflex from tin whistle to be. Oh, I'm on a high note. I'm blowing a little more. So I think with a little breath control practice, you might be able to blow a little less when you go down to those low notes, because I'm feeling them jump up the octave, which is one of the things that screws up playing grace notes on here. Like on in your second octave, it's almost impossible to play a high G uh, grace note. High G, I say, with high G bagpipe fingering grace note. So it would be a D grace note. Um, it's because it's in that octave, the D doesn't make as much of a difference, so it doesn't come across sounding quite as good. Um, so I think a similar problem to that is happening here when I'm going, especially on those high A grips, or when I was going from a high note to a burl there. Just occasionally it would kind of stay in that higher register on the high A or high G or whatever relative fingering, so like D or C. Um, but yeah, overall, actually, I was a lot more impressed with that than I thought I would be. So again, I'm gonna go ahead and recommend this if you are a bagpiper who wants to grab a tin whistle so you can play at session. Then that would be a good thing to do. Or just a bagpiper interested in playing something along with other instruments for once. So I'm gonna make some use of this in my band. Maybe I don't know how much, because again I just don't like the tone as well as the Susato. But again, the Susato is also a more expensive whistle, but it's a comparable tone. So or comparable tone increase to the price increase. Is my opinion. So if you really want to get into tin whistles, I'd recommend the Susato. These are pretty much the only two brands of whistles that I've ever used. So I don't know. There's probably other ones out there. Don't get touristy crap. If it says Guinness on it, it's a crap whistle. So I'll give you that piece of information. Generation is a great beginner whistle because it's cheap. Whether it's the regular one or the Elfsong. And the Elfsong, really, if you're not a bagpiper, get a regular whistle because you're learning a new whistle or you're learning a new instrument anyway. So I don't see why you would go out of your way to get a weird instrument that you'd have to learn how to play a different instrument in order to play this in a setting where you would never play this other instrument that you're actually learning. So if this seems interesting to you, by all means, just go check it out. I think it's pretty cool there. So I'm going to end it with one more tin, and then I'll finish off my beer of the week. And, well, I guess I have to rate the beer of the week first, which isn't going to be great. It's not as just downright awful as a lot of gins I've had. It's not as much of that, like, turpentine, burn your liver off kind of flavor. It is fairly floral. It's very simple. I'm still not a big fan of juniper or very floral things, and I don't know, it's differently smoky than a lot of gins I've had too, though. So it's actually sort of interesting for that. So, I don't know. I'm gonna give it a 9 on a scale of 3 to 17. So it's a little under average. It's not terrible considering I paid $10 for a giant ass bottle. I'm not sad. So I'll go out on a tune and then I'll have my last drink here. I'll drink to that. There's a couple of other interesting things I noticed there, and if you're a bagpiper, you probably noticed them too. So I shouldn't have to tell you about them. So I'm not going to, because I feel like I've babbled on quite long enough, and instead of babbling further, I'm going to drink to that. So be sure to like and subscribe. If you like this kind of content, then leave a comment down there and tell me, and maybe I'll make some more of it. Maybe I'll get some more whistles or other kinds of instruments and review them. If you like just the Celtic music in general, let me know. I'll do some more of those. Those are one of the things I've been meaning to do more on the channel. If you like more of the gaming side and you want to see more gaming stuff, or if you want to see me play more video game music on the bagpipes, like the Wind Waker theme, which that might be on the channel already. It's either on this channel or the other channel. So I should combine those. I wonder if I can do that. That's a problem for another time and another drink. Something. Bye!